Selamat pagi, Pak Didi. Selamat datang.
Pagi Mbak Sabrina.
Oke, oke. Selamat pagi semuanya. Para peserta sudah memasuki ruang Zoom ya. Selamat pagi semuanya.
Pagi.
Oke, baik.
Selamat
Gimana nih
pagi.
kabarnya?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah
Baik.
ya. Sambil menunggu teman-teman yang lain untuk bergabung di ruang Zoom ini, mungkin mohon untuk mengganti format namanya ya dengan nama underscore instansi. Kemudian juga bisa mengganti background yang telah panitia sediakan ya. Terima kasih. Kemudian untuk para peserta jangan lupa untuk mengisi link absensi ya. Link absensi nanti akan ada di kolom chat ya, mungkin bisa dilihat nanti ya. Oke. Oke, baik. Kita akan mulai kegiatan kita pada hari ini ya. Sudah siap semua? Sudah siap semua untuk memulai kegiatan kita pada hari ini? Sudah ya? Oke. Selamat datang di Indonesia Science Center, tempatnya jagoan sains. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Selamat siang Bapak Ibu pendamping dan peserta Top 10 English Speech Contest 2025 Indonesia Science Center. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Yang kami hormati Direktur Indonesia Science Center Bapak Didik Adiarsa. Yang kami hormati para juri kita hari ini Ibu Yuta Inten, Ibu Dini Nur Aini, dan Bapak Sultoni. Dan yang kami hormati Bapak Ibu pendamping peserta Top 10 Final English Speech Contest 2025 Indonesia Science Center, serta yang kami banggakan peserta Top 10 Final English Speech Contest 2025 Indonesia Science Center. Baik Bapak Ibu dan teman-teman, perkenalkan saya dengan Sabrina selaku MC yang akan memandu acara pada hari ini. Sebelumnya, kami mengucapkan terima kasih banyak kepada Bapak Ibu dan teman-teman semua yang sudah berpartisipasi dalam kegiatan Grand Final English Speech Contest 2025 Indonesia Science Center hari ini. Baik Bapak Ibu dan teman-teman, sebelum memulai acara kita pada hari ini, saya akan membacakan susunan acara kita pada hari ini. Acara akan diawali dengan pembukaan, dilanjutkan dengan pembacaan doa, kemudian dilanjutkan dengan sambutan Direktur Indonesia Science Center, kemudian dilanjutkan dengan pemutaran video promosi Indonesia Science Center, dilanjutkan kembali dengan pemutaran video promosi Kampung Inggris, dilanjutkan dengan pengenalan juri, dilanjutkan dengan penampilan ke-10 peserta beserta tanya jawab oleh juri, kemudian dilanjutkan dengan isoma, dilanjutkan dengan pengumuman pemenang, dan dilanjutkan dengan penutup. Puji dan syukur marilah kita panjatkan kehadirat Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, Tuhan yang Maha Esa, yang mana atas berkat dan rahmatnya kita dapat berkumpul dalam Grand Final English Speech Contest 2025 Indonesia Science Center. Baik, Bapak, Ibu, dan teman-teman semua, sebelum kita memasuki rangkaian demi rangkaian acara kita pada hari ini, mari kita berdoa terlebih dahulu, berdoa menurut agama dan kepercayaan masing-masing. Berdoa dimulai. Berdoa selesai. Baik, semoga acara kita dapat berjalan dengan lancar tanpa hambatan yang berarti. Amin. Baik Bapak, Ibu, dan teman-teman, kita akan lanjut ke acara selanjutnya, yaitu sambutan Direktur Indonesia Science Center, yaitu Bapak Didik Adiarsa. Halo Bapak Didik, selamat pagi.
Ya, selamat pagi Mbak Sabrina. Suara saya bisa terdengar jelas?
Bisa Bapak.
Baik,
Silakan
ya.
kepada Bapak Didik, dipersilahkan.
Ya. Oke. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirrabbilalamin. Segala puji bagi Allah Subhanahu wa taala yang selalu merahmati kita semua. Pertama-tama saya ucapkan terima kasih atas kehadiran ketiga dewan juri yang sudah berada di tengah-tengah kita. Ada 3 orang dewan juri dari kampung Inggris, dari BRIN, dan kami juga ada memiliki juri yang dari independen. Untuk kampung Inggris, kebetulan tahun 2020 yang lalu saya pernah ke kampung Inggris LC di Pare, Kediri, bertemu dengan pimpinannya, kita bersilaturahmi di sana, dan kami juga pernah hadir bersilaturahmi dengan kampung Inggris LC Bogor. Sekarang kembali kami melakukan speed contest tahun 2025 ini dengan melibatkan kampung Inggris sebagai mitra kami. Saya ucapkan juga terima kasih kepada seluruh panitia dari Indonesia Science Center yang telah bekerja keras untuk mewujudkan acara ini hingga sampai grand final hari ini. Dan terutama dengan rasa bangga, saya ucapkan selamat kepada para finalis. Ada 10 finalis pada hari ini yang sangat dapat menginspirasi generasi muda bahwa Anda hari ini menunjukkan Anda berprestasi. Ya, saya yakin prestasi yang adik-adik dapatkan pada hari ini sampai bisa masuk 10 besar grand final ini, di acara grand final ini, itu bukan berasal dari satu lompatan. Prestasi itu akan didapat berdasarkan konsistensi yang pernah kita lakukan sebelumnya. Kita konsisten, kita berlatih, kita juga mempunyai mental yang baik, kita dapat prestasi itu. Jadi nggak mungkin prestasi diraih hanya dengan satu lompatan atau persiapan singkat. Ini pasti adik-adik sekalian, yang pertama tuh hobi bahasa Inggris. Yang kedua, udah pasti teman-teman ini edik nih, pengennya ngomong bahasa Inggris terus. Kelihatan dari hasil pada hari ini. Jadi konsistensi itu akan membuahkan hasil, ya. Jadi kita harus berusaha menjadi orang yang konsisten. Adik-adik pernah tahu ini kan, Jerome Pauline? Jerome Pauline pernah ditanya, dia kan jago matematika. Dia ditanya, dia lebih suka pelajaran apa, matematika atau bahasa Inggris? Dia bilang dia suka bahasa Inggris tapi untuk ngajar matematika, gitu. Jadi memang konsistensi yang dilakukan secara terus-menerus itu pasti akan membuahkan hasil. Jadi jangan pernah berhenti. Kita berikhtiar, kita berusaha, kita selalu berupaya menjadi yang terbaik. Berusaha menjadi terbaik itu nggak ada masalah. Bukan berarti kita orang sombong, tapi kita mempunyai target yang akan terus meningkat dari hari ke hari. Nah, adik-adik sekalian, hari ini sudah menunjukkan satu prestasi yang luar biasa, 10 besar loh, ini 10 besar dari seluruh Indonesia. Saya lihat di daftar 10 besar ini ada yang dari Banda Aceh juga, itu dari pulau terujung Indonesia itu di Sumatera, dan pasti ini membanggakan orang tua, membanggakan sekolah, membanggakan keluarga, teman-teman, dan terutama ini membanggakan buat adik-adik sendiri. Bangga itu ada dua, ada bangga yang bisa berefek negatif jika kita jadi sombong, tapi bangga yang membuat kita makin rendah hati, tapi terus meningkatkan skill, meningkatkan kemampuan kita di bidang apapun, ya, itu akan menimbulkan satu dorongan yang besar untuk mencapai prestasi yang lebih baik. Jadi 10 besar ini sebenarnya baru awal ya. Adik-adik akan terus bersaing di level-level atau di skenario-skenario hidup berikutnya ya sampai ntar dewasa, dan yang pastinya 10 besar ini akan tercatat dan akan bisa adik-adik sampaikan pada saat nanti sudah jadi orang tua, sudah punya anak, bahkan sudah punya cucu, nanti disampaikan bahwa ini saya ayah atau saya kakek, saya nenek ini dulu pernah juara di speed contest 2025 yang levelnya Indonesia. Ini bukan lagi level regional Jakarta atau per provinsi, ini seluruh Indonesia. Jadi dari daftar peserta penyebarannya juga sangat banyak, hampir seluruh provinsi ada perwakilannya, dan saya yakin adik-adik yang 10 besar ini adalah orang-orang yang terbaik. Tentunya para juri juga tidak akan memberikan nilai yang asal-asalan. Pasti itu ada standar-standar penilaian, ada standar-standar yang memang dapat diberikan, bisa didefinisikan terhadap penampilan adik-adik sekalian. Mungkin dari mentalitas yang pada saat depan kamera, ekspresi dan lain-lain, skill terutama pastinya. Jadi apapun hasil hari ini, ya adik-adik nggak usah berkecil hati. Ya, mencapai 10 besar Grand Final seluruh Indonesia ini adalah satu hal yang luar biasa. Jadi apapun hasil hari ini, kalian udah patut bangga menjadi yang terbaik di Indonesia di Speed Contest Indonesia Science Center 2025 ini. Jadi di Grand Final ini tampilkan yang terbaik, tampilkan seluruh kemampuan, ya all out aja. Nah, jika tidak menang, santai aja, karena ini sudah suatu hal yang sangat membahagiakan. Apapun hasilnya, kalian sudah harus bangga, dan apapun hasilnya pada hari ini akan dapat menjadi lecutan prestasi untuk di skenario hidup kalian berikutnya. Bukan cuma di bahasa Inggris, mungkin nanti akan meningkat ke sekolah yang lanjut, ke kuliah, dan bersaing pada saat kita harus menjadi profesional, mencari pekerjaan, ya, mencari satu penghidupan kita buat diri kita dan keluarga kita. Ini anggap jadi satu lecutan prestasi buat adik-adik semua. Jadi pesan saya, terus konsisten, ya, jangan pernah berhenti untuk belajar, jangan pernah berhenti untuk melatih skill, ya. Sudah benar ini memilih bahasa Inggris sebagai satu hal yang mungkin jadi hobi adik-adik sekalian, ya. Ini sudah pada tracknya, dan insya Allah saya doakan adik-adik kalian akan mencapai sukses, bukan cuma di Grand Final ini, cuma di kehidupan adik-adik yang sebenarnya pada saat harus bertarung di negara kita ini yang sangat ketat persaingannya untuk menjadi profesional, ya, di Indonesia sangat ketat sekali. Itu dari saya ucapkan selamat bertanding, selamat berjuang, sukses semuanya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih Bapak Didik Adiarsa atas sambutannya yang luar biasa ya. Oke, kita akan melanjutkan ke acara selanjutnya ya, yaitu ada pemutaran video promosi Indonesia Science Center. Nah, kami akan memutarkan video promosi Indonesia Science Center, di mana Indonesia Science Center ini memiliki wahana-wahana baru nih ya. Jadi kami memiliki wahana baru seperti wahana imersif Nova Fantasia ya. Kemudian juga wahana The Mummies, kami juga ada. Kemudian juga terdapat wahana 4XD, dan juga kami ada film nih, film Einstein Endgame dan film Misi Rahasia Petualangan Sains yang hanya ada di Teater Sains Indonesia Science Center ya. Jadi bagi yang penasaran nih, bisa langsung aja ke Indonesia Science Center dan nikmati wahana-wahana terbaru kami ya. Silakan menyaksikan video promosi Indonesia Science Center.
like something's in the air to spend my time. Pray you'll rescue me, oh brother night. Calling out by myself, but I feel fine. I've been waiting for a girl like you all of my life.
Halo Sobat Science, di Indonesia Science Center ada wahana baru loh, namanya Theater 4XD. Di sini kalian gak cuma nonton film biasa, tapi bakal merasakan sensasi seru dengan efek gerakan yang membuat setiap adegan terasa nyata. Setiap detiknya penuh kejutan, dijamin bikin liburanmu makin seru dan gak terlupakan. Ayo, ajak keluarga dan teman-teman untuk mencoba langsung keseruan Theater 4XD hanya di Indonesia Science Center. Kami tunggu kedatangannya ya.
Gimana deg-degan?
Seru banget.
Seru? Deg-degan?
Saya
Deg-degan
deg-degan.
ya?
Itu tinggal 30 menit lagi.
Ayo cepetan Sheryl.
Tentang alat pernafasan manusia,
Tenang banget Laro, semua jawaban pasti ada di dalam.
Waktu cuma 3 menit.
Ya udah ayo buruan.
Ini. Organ pernafasan terdiri dari hidung, faring, laring,
7,
terus habis itu trakea, bronkus, bronkulius, paru-paru, dan diafragma.
1.
Oke, baik. Wah, sudah dilihat tadi ya, luar biasa sekali ya untuk wahana-wahana terbaru di Indonesia Science Center nih. Jadi bagi teman-teman yang penasaran banget ya sama wahana-wahana terbaru kami, itu bisa langsung ke Indonesia Science Center. Kemudian juga tidak hanya bermain ya di Indonesia Science Center, tapi juga belajar gitu. Jadi belajarnya fun ya. Nah, bagi teman-teman bisa ajak saudaranya, bisa ajak teman-temannya, adik kakaknya untuk Indonesia Science Center ya. Baik, selanjutnya kami ada pemutaran video promosi Kampung Inggris nih. Bagi teman-teman yang penasaran dengan Kampung Inggris, teman-teman bisa menyaksikan video promosi berikut ini.
So, my name is Muhammad Zia Ulhak, you can call me Zia. I'm from Karawang. My business before I came here, I busy doing nothing actually. I just keep my parents' store at my home and I take EMP for 6 month program here. Pengalaman yang saya dapetin ya untuk selama 5 bulan di sini, ketemu teman-teman yang asik, ketemu tutor-tutor yang asik juga yang cara ngajarinnya cepat gitu masuk ke otak, maksa kita untuk speaking bahasa Inggris setiap harinya. Aku suka dengan metode pembelajaran yang cepat masuk ke otak, yang mudah dipahamin, dan sistemnya juga fun gitu. Jadi aku seneng banget karena di sini aku bisa mencurahkan gitu kreativitas aku, karena di sini kan ada beberapa kayak program lomba-lombaan yang seperti contohnya drama, terus lomba yel-yel, dan banyak lomba lainnya. Dan itu aku bisa menuangkan kreativitas aku, terutama ditambah karena aku dulunya pas SMA aku adalah seorang member dari teater, jadi aku bisa mencurahkan kreativitas aku lagi di sini, jadi tambah senang aja lah. Untuk teachernya asik-asik sih, asik-asik. Kita sering dikasih game, kita sering dikasih persiapan untuk di masa depan gimana, terutama untuk TOEFL atau untuk masalah pekerjaan. Jadi bukan cuma soal ngajar, tapi juga soal kehidupan. Kita pernah kelas outdoor itu di aku lupa namanya tapi itu di outdoor dan tempatnya asik. Terus yang kedua juga kita pernah outdoor di Tansu, Ketan Susu, dekat lapangan Tulungrejo, mungkin teman-teman tahu di sini. Oh iya, di sini aku juga jadi tim CLE, yang mana itu adalah sebuah singkatan dari Community Language Center Event yang mengatur dan mempanitiakan acara-acara yang ada di Language Center ini. Terus aku juga sering jadi MC, udah 3 kali jadi MC di sini. Dan asik sih menjadi MC ini. Pertama kalinya justru aku jadi MC. Jadi dapat pengalaman baru lah gitu di sini. Perbedaan yang aku rasain selama 5 bulan di LC adalah yang pertama pasti aku masih kacau kalau masalah grammar. Tapi kalau untuk speaking karena udah terbiasa sebelumnya untuk ngomong sama foreigner, terutama di game-game online, jadi udah karena terbiasa. Tapi untuk secara grammar itu masih kacau. Tapi ketika udah masuk di LC, aku jadi lebih bisa tahu, oh secara struktur gini, secara strukturnya. Lalu secara penggunaan-penggunaan seperti to be, verb, atau yang hal lainnya, pancawit, itu jadi aku lebih tahu penggunaannya gimana. Ketika aku ke Bali itu waktu bulan keempat, berarti bulan lalu, di bulan Mei. Dan itu asik banget sih ketika ke Bali. Jadi aku tahu gitu budaya-budaya di Bali seperti apa. Terus karena di sana banyak bule-bule, jadi kita bisa ngobrol sama bule-bule. Kita ngerekam beberapa video bareng mereka untuk penugasan. Itu asik banget sih. Kedepannya sih bisa ngobrol lagi sama bule, terutama yang cantik.
Siapa tahu suka gitu ya kan.
Tapi ya pengennya sih ya itu, bisa kenalan lebih banyak lagi sama bule-bule, bisa tahu budaya-budaya mereka, bisa tahu gimana sih perbedaan antara di luar Indonesia dengan di dalam Indonesia itu seperti apa. Jawaban jujurnya pengen dapet cewek, tapi kalau jawaban yang lebih serius ya tentu aja pengen lebih dapat, supaya gampang dapat kerja gitu. Dan kalau bisa untuk kuliah, saya pengen kuliah lagi. Cuman kan niatnya habis selesai program dari sini pengen ikutan program MTTS, program untuk mengajar, untuk menjadi tutor di LC. Niatnya sih habis dari aku ngajar jadi tutor, aku pengen sambil ngambil kuliah. Karena ini udah bulan kelima, aku sih jadi gak sabar gitu ya buat ikutan TOEFL di bulan ke-6. Karena aku berharapnya aku bisa dapat skor mungkin, kalau bisa sih lebih dari 677, tapi kan nggak mungkin itu. Jadi ya pengennya sih ya harapan gitu punya dapat skor 600 lebih, cuman ya 500 it's okay. Untuk skor TOEFL pastinya aku bakal pakai itu untuk daftar kerja, dan kalau aku daftar kuliah lagi aku bakal daftar kuliah dipakai buat daftar kuliah. This is my mastery journey to achieve my dream. So if you want to achieve your dreams too, it can be your first step. So join KILC, especially in EMP program. So let's achieve your dream. Bye-bye!
Oke, baik. Wah, luar biasa ya kegiatan di Kampung Inggris. Jadi bagi kalian nih yang ingin belajar lebih lagi, bisa langsung ke Kampung Inggris ya. Oke, baik Bapak, Ibu, dan teman-teman peserta. Sebelum kita memasuki acara inti kita pada hari ini, izinkan saya untuk memperkenalkan 3 juri kita yang luar biasa pada hari ini ya. Yaitu ada Ibu Yuta Inten. Selamat pagi Ibu Yuta. Selamat pagi Ibu. Apakah suara saya terdengar?
Halo Mbak Sabrina, selamat pagi.
Oke.
Suara saya
Bagaimana
terdengar?
kabarnya? Terdengar Ibu.
Bagus. Ya,
Bagaimana kabarnya Ibu?
baik, Alhamdulillah. Banggaan
Alhamdulillah.
banget bisa gabung dengan teman-teman di
Wah,
sini.
terima kasih Ibu, Alhamdulillah. Baik, saya akan membacakan CV singkat dari Bu Yuta. Saat ini beliau bekerja di Badan Riset dan Inovasi Nasional dengan pendidikan terakhir beliau yaitu Magister Communication for Social Change di University of Queensland, Australia pada tahun 2014 ya. Wah, luar biasa sekali nih ya juri kita ya. Baik, selanjutnya saya akan mengenalkan juri berikutnya, yaitu ada Ibu Dini Nur Aini. Selamat pagi Ibu Dini. Selamat pagi Ibu Dini. Oke. Bagaimana kabarnya Ibu?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Baik, saya akan membacakan CV singkat dari Ibu Dini ya. Saat ini beliau bekerja sebagai pengajar dan akademisi dalam bidang bahasa Inggris di MAN 8 Jakarta dengan pendidikan terakhir yaitu Sarjana Bimbingan Konseling pada tahun 2008 dan merupakan juri speech contest pada tahun 2010. Wah, luar biasa ya Ibu ya. Oke. Kemudian kami juga ada Bapak Sultoni ya. Selamat pagi Bapak Sultoni.
Selamat pagi.
Bagaimana
Selamat pagi,
kabarnya
Ibu.
Bapak?
Alhamdulillah sehat. Makin semangat ini.
Oke, alhamdulillah Bapak. Oke, baik. Saya akan membacakan CV singkat dari Bapak Sultoni ya. Saat ini beliau bekerja di Language Center Kampung Inggris. Dengan pendidikan terakhir beliau adalah Magister Pendidikan Bahasa Inggris di Universitas Islam Malang pada tahun 2015. Wah, luar biasa sekali nih ya juri kita pada hari ini ya. Wah. Oke, baik Bapak Ibu dan teman-teman. Sampailah kita nih pada acara inti kita hari ini, yaitu Grand Final Speech Contest 2025 Indonesia Science Center, di mana kita akan melihat penampilan ke-10 peserta kita yang sangat luar biasa ya. Namun, sebelum itu, saya ingin menyampaikan beberapa hal dari Grand Final Speech Contest 2025 Indonesia Science Center hari ini, yaitu para peserta akan dipanggil secara random berdasarkan hasil nama yang keluar setelah nama-nama peserta akan di-spin oleh aplikasi ya. Kemudian, selanjutnya untuk masing-masing peserta diberikan durasi untuk speech sebanyak 5 menit dan tanya jawab oleh juri sebanyak 7 menit. Jadi, dengan total durasi maksimal semuanya yaitu 12 menit. Sehingga mohon untuk dimaksimalkan. Kemudian peserta akan diberikan pertanyaan oleh satu orang juri secara bergantian ya. Selanjutnya, kami akan menampilkan timer di layar dan timer akan dimulai pada saat para peserta mulai berpidato ya. Maka mohon untuk diperhatikan. Oke, terima kasih ya. Oke, baik Bapak, Ibu, dan teman-teman peserta, mohon izin menyampaikan terdapat 2 peserta yang baru bisa bergabung di urutan terakhir ya, yaitu Nadira Hirani dan Ilma Budi. Oke. Baik semuanya, sekarang apakah sudah siap semua? Sudah siap semua?
Sudah.
Siap.
Siap ya, oke.
Let's
Baik,
get
kita
started.
akan memulai untuk spin nama ke-10 peserta ya. Kita lihat ya, kira-kira siapa peserta pertama yang akan menampilkan speech-nya. Oke. Oke, untuk Kak Ilma Budi, karena ini tadi terakhir ya, di akhir, jadi kita skip ulang ya. Oke, peserta pertama yang akan menampilkan speech-nya yaitu Kak Raihana Abdillah Al-Mahdali dari SMA Insan Cendikia Al-Kausar dengan judul The Prison Without Walls ya. Halo Kak Raihana.
Halo.
Oke, apakah sudah siap Kak?
Sudah, insya Allah sudah.
Oke, jadi timer akan dimulai ketika kakak mulai berpidato ya Kak ya.
Oke, bentar ya Kak. Aku
Kameranya bisa
Yap.
di on cam ya Kak ya.
Ini
Oke, terima
kelihatan
kasih.
nggak ya?
Oke, sudah kelihatan Kak. Oke, dipersilakan Kak, silakan memulai pidato.
Oke, bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Sebentar Kak, kami mau timernya terlebih dahulu ya, biar terlihat, mohon maaf.
Oke.
Oke, timernya sudah siap ya Kak. Oke, silakan Kak untuk mulai berpidato.
Oke, aku mulai ya Kak. We are used to telling ourselves that we are free. We are free men. We live in an age of liberty, they say. But we're free to share our ideas, our opinions, challenge authorities. But if we actually opened our eyes, we might realize a disturbing truth. It's not liberty we live in. What we live in is a prison without walls. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Rehana Abdillah Madali. I'm from SMA Insan Cendekia Al-Kausar, and today I will be sharing my perspective on something quite interesting. So, the prison in which I'm referring to as our nation does not lock us up in bars, in iron bar stones. No, they do not do that. What they do is they blanket us with fear, censorship, invisible boundaries. They control what we can and cannot say, what we can and cannot do. The guards, we can't see them, but they're watching. Sometimes using uniforms, suits maybe, or hiding behind the shining lights of our devices. You see here that freedom of speech is not something that we have. Anything we do, they monitor. Let's take a look at some real life examples. In China, let's say, one who dares question the government will disappear overnight. Can you imagine that? It's like going back to the era of French Revolution, the reign of terror. Entire topics like the Tiananmen Square massacre has been deleted completely in the digital media. It's like history itself can be deleted. Much like how we delete our tweets after we think that, oh, it's not the right quote. History can be deleted like that. Millions of people live with the idea of one wrong post, one wrong sentence results in the destroyment of their lives. One wrong sentence can destroy their lives completely. Now, before we comfort ourselves by saying, oh, that will never happen here. That'll never happen to me. Let us look at how our so-called free societies are. In the United States, the land of the First Amendment whistleblowers, Edward Snowden and Chelsea Mannings, were hunted or imprisoned for revealing truths about surveillance and war crimes. Their message was clear. You are free to speak until your words threatens an authority, until your words threatens the powerful. No, we're not prisoners here. But to the eyes of those in powers, we're puppets. Even in democracies, journalists are silenced. In countries like India, Turkey, Hungary, independent journalists are hunted down, locked in as in jailed, intimidated or branded as enemies of the state. Freedom of speech exists only on paper or only on awareness posts and social medias, never in reality. Please know that here, they're just reporters and they're silenced there. The idea of freedom of speech is nothing but a utopian dream. Let us not forget about the invisible prison of public opinion and cancelled culture, where people risk losing their jobs, their reputation, their friends even, for expressing a controversial view. Please note that we are not trying to be problematic. We are simply sharing our perspectives. Still, we are seen as ungrateful citizens. We may not be locked behind bars, but fear keeps us just as captive. So, yes, we are living in a prison built not of irons, not of stones, but of silence, a prison where the keys are held by governments, corporations, or even our neighbor, anyone who has the power in our environment. The question is, will we accept this prison as normal? Or will we demand a world where freedom of speech is not just a slogan, but a reality? True freedom is not the right to agree. That is a misunderstanding. True freedom lies in the right to disagree without fear. It is the right to speak. Even when our words make others uncomfortable, it is the right to shine light in dark places, even when those in power want us to stay silent, want us to stay blind. It is the right to speak regardless of our background, our place in society, our religion, whatever comes in between. My friends, ladies, judges, the walls of this prison will not fall on their own. They will only dare to speak, even when it is dangerous, even when
waktunya sudah habis.
silence may feel safe. It is the sound of chains.
Oke, terima kasih Kak Raihana. Oke, baik. Kepada Pak Sultodi, dipersilakan untuk memberikan pertanyaan.
Right, okay. I would like to ask you, but first of all, I need to give you compliment. You speak so fluent.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yes, but I need to know you. How do you usually manage your nervousness when you have to present your speech like this?
Okay, so actually I have a story about this. The first time I did a speech competition, I fainted. I fainted on stage, yeah.
Right.
And I feel like my way of handling nervousness is remembering that moment. And I feel like I don't want that to happen again. I do not know who I am presenting to. I just need to present the best of myself. And I prepare so I don't get nervous on stage.
Right.
That's mainly how I handle it.
Okay.
Yeah.
The second one I need to know from you. How do you prepare the speech? How long do you usually make your preparations before you have to present it?
You mean the script and like my preparation itself, right?
Yes.
Well, it depends on the topic. If I'm quite familiar with the topic of my speech, I'll need about 2 or 3 days. If I'm not familiar, then I need to read a book about it first. Because when I do speeches, when I make my script, usually I use a representation from a book. So I need to be quite familiar with what I'm trying to say, a week at most.
A week, right. So you also told me earlier that you made your script on your own. So how do you gather the references?
The references. So I am actually a student librarian in my school. So I read quite some titles of books, and when I gather references, I try to position myself as someone who doesn't know anything about this. So I do research first, and then I recall the books that I have read. Like for this, in my preliminary round, I used the George Orwell reference. I felt like I saw some resemblance, those things. And when I see the resemblance, I usually just try to pour it out in my draft. And when I have the informations I need, I just build the script like that.
Right. So you so many times visiting a library, right?
Yeah.
Did you make the draft alone or being supervised by your teacher?
This time alone. Usually I make my script alone, but I like to ask my teachers, not just my English teacher, like my history teacher as well, for like their opinions on what they think about this. Like if the theme was freedom of speech, is it okay if I talk about George Orwell reference? Those were the questions I asked before I completed my script. When I completed this script, the ones without prison without walls, I didn't really consult my script with my teachers, but I did ask them opinions regarding what was going to be inside the script, the speech.
Oh, right. So do your parents also support you in doing so?
Yes, they are very supportive, alhamdulillah. My parents, they know I like to read, they know I like to talk, I'm a talkative child. They support my ways of trying to, this is my journey of like finding myself. So they're very supportive.
Right. So do you take, how many times do you practice speaking perhaps in everyday life?
Okay.
And how do you usually memorize vocabularies and also develop it?
Develop.
Your vocabularies.
Oh, okay. So usually I'm going to start with the developing vocabularies. At first, I read English literatures like Charles Dickens books, Vladimir Nabokov got translated, and those books that are way beyond my level. And I usually have a dictionary with me, an English dictionary, not Indonesian English dictionary. That is how I develop my English vocabularies. My practice, I practice actually quite frequently. I like to talk in front of the mirror. I like to talk with my friends in English as well. My teacher, every time I finish reading a book, I write in my journal what I think about the book, my conclusion, the vocabularies that might seem out of the blue. I write them and I share them with my English teacher, which is also the head of librarian. So I'm quite close with her because I'm always in the library. So yeah, I think that's how I manage my language proficiency, I think.
Okay. So I also would like to know, how do you choose the topic for the speech contest like this?
Okay, so I used this because I feel like the right to speak freely doesn't mean that the person is exempt from the consequences of their speech. Prison without walls, I feel like people are trapped in a so-called cage, and well, everything they do are controlled. My argument isn't really about the absolute freedom without responsibility, though. Instead, it's called to be more tolerant of disagreement and not to avoid creating a climate where people are afraid to express any opinion that might be controversial. So my line wasn't really about preventing harm, but it was about punishing dissent. And that we need to distinguish between speech that incites violence and speech that simply makes people uncomfortable. The paradox was that without allowing uncomfortable speech, we prevent society from growing. It's like I'm trying to show how regressive the nation is. Like a cage, like a prison. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's enough for me. Perhaps the other judges. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Oke, terima kasih Kak Raihana dan Pak Tony. Wah, luar biasa sekali ya atas pidatonya ya, The Prison Without Walls ya. Oke, selanjutnya kita akan spin lagi nama-nama pesertanya ya. Siapakah yang akan menjadi selanjutnya untuk menyampaikan speech-nya ya? Kita akan lihat bersama-sama. Oke. Oke. Wah, selanjutnya yaitu Michael Audi ya, dari SMA Negeri 1 Banda Aceh nih. Wah, luar biasa nih, jauh ya. Oke, dengan judul Our Voice, Our Future. Halo Michael. Halo Michael, apakah suara saya? Oke.
Wait for a bit. I'll be using my phone here that I've joined for the second meeting. This will be my microphone, and I'll be putting it here.
Okay.
Is it okay?
For yes, all is fine.
Okay. Is this working? Is this working? Okay.
Working. Okay. Okay. Are you ready, Michael?
I think I'm quite ready.
Oke.
Let me
Oke, kita
say.
akan mulai ya. Oke, silakan Michael untuk berpidato.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michael Audi. I'm 17 years old. I go to school at SMA Negeri 1 Banda Aceh. And I will be talking about something so important in our generation currently. And that is our voice, our future, with the main topic being freedom of speech. But now, let me take you back in time. On December 26, 2004, Aceh was hit with one of the worst natural disasters in Indonesia's history. A massive earthquake around 9.0 on the Richter scale struck off the coast of Sumatra, and it happened early in the morning. Just minutes later, a massive tsunami hit the northern and western parts of Aceh. Waves up to 10 to 12 meters high destroyed everything in their path, and in some places, water swept over 7 to 10 kilometers inland. The destruction was unimaginable. More than 167,000 people have lost their lives, and over 500,000 were left homeless. More than 110,000 homes, thousands of schools, hospitals, airports were gone, destroyed. And just when we think that Aceh has no more hope left on recovering, a slither of hope shines through the cracks. Over the course of 4 years, Indonesia and its international partners helped rebuild Aceh from scratch. They built 140,000 homes, 4,000 kilometers worth of road, 1,700 schools, 1,000 government buildings, and 36 airports and ports. The total cost of all the recovery was estimated to be 7.7 billion US dollars, or we could say 100 trillion rupiah. Now you might be wondering, where did all that money came from? Yes, my friends, it came from taxes and the power of people uniting as one. You see, ordinary people like us that pays taxes across Indonesia, from workers, business owners, families, people who may have never been to Aceh, but whose contributions gave Aceh a second chance. That leads me to one of the most important things that I've learned, and it's that change is possible when people unite and speak up. You see, freedom of speech is not just the right to say what we think. It is the power to bring change, to speak truth, and to do good things. It is the heart of every democracy. It is how movements begin. It is how communities heal, and it is how futures are built. We live in a generation where we are so connected with the world around us. We live in a digital world where we can like, post, comment, and share our activities, and anyone from across the world can see what we're doing. But Uncle Ben have said something to Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility. Thus, I ask you this: do we use our voice to build or to break? Do we speak up for justice or to spread hate? Do we use our voice for likes and attention or for truth and purpose? Freedom of speech does not mean freedom from consequences. It is to use our voice responsibly, bravely, and wisely. And that leads me to one more thing that I've learned that is far more important than what I've stated earlier. And that is time. Time is easily the most valuable thing we can ever have. And once it's all gone, you can't get it back. The tsunami have showed us how quickly and everything can be destroyed in a matter of seconds. So I'd suggest we use our voice to speak up, to connect, and to support others, and to do good things. Don't wait until it's too late. Don't waste your voice on things that don't matter. Instead, what we could be doing is use your voice to help someone who feels invisible. Use your voice to stand against injustice. Use your voice to speak your truth, and use your voice to tell your story, because your story matters. And it is to speak with courage, with kindness, and with purpose. Because the future is not written by those who stay silent. It is written by those who dare to speak up.
Waktu sudah habis.
I, Michael Audi, am proud to use my voice, and I hope my speech can push forward our generation into.
Terima kasih Kak Michael, mohon maaf waktu sudah habis ya. Oke, terima kasih Kak Michael. Selanjutnya yaitu Ibu Dini, dipersilakan untuk memberikan pertanyaan. Terima kasih.
Okay. I like the data that you presented. How do you get the data?
I've searched it in Wikipedia mostly, but throughout the histories of Aceh, I've actually learned quite a lot when I came here. So, from the history of tsunami from Aceh 2004, I've got a lot of background on how it happened, why it happened, and how they managed to recover from the disaster.
Okay, very good. Just one more question from me. Can you give me, you related to freedom of speech with community solidarization, and then how people unite to help each other by giving freedom of speech. Now, can you give me an example on, for yourself, have you ever used your own rights to give a freedom of speech like this?
So, what you're asking is that have I implemented what I've told
Yeah,
in real life?
that's
Yes,
right.
I think yes, because with with my voice, I've raised awareness to some parts of the world about how Aceh recovered and how and how the recovery is. mm, so what I mean is I've used my voice to tell the world about how Aceh got hit with the tsunami, how it recovered, and I think that helped me, regain, and that helped me, widen my knowledge and talk to people more than from my other country.
Okay, thank you.
Oke, terima kasih Kak Michael atas speech-nya dan terima kasih Bu Dini atas pertanyaannya ya. Wah, luar biasa deh ya. Oke, kita akan lanjut untuk melihat peserta selanjutnya ya. Oke, kita akan spin lagi. Siapakah yang akan menjadi peserta selanjutnya untuk menampilkan speech-nya? Kita akan lihat bersama-sama. Oke, selanjutnya yaitu Kak Amanda Peter dari Highfield Secondary School Cirebon ya. Dengan judul The Power of Listening, Reviving Freedom of Speech in a Noisy World ya. Oke, Kak Amanda Peter?
Yes, hello, good morning everyone. Is my voice audible?
Yes, okay.
Right, okay, sure.
Okay, now you are ready?
Very ready. I'll start in 3, 2, 1. What if I told you that the greatest threat to freedom of speech is not censorship, not dictatorship, not even silence, but the fact that no one is truly listening? Good morning, honorable judges, respected audience, and fellow contestant. My name is Amanda Peter from Highfield Secondary School, Cirebon. And today I want to talk about the forgotten side of free speech, the art of listening. We live in an era where everyone can talk. We post, we share, we comment, we argue. Every single day, humanity produces more than 500 million tweets, 350 million photos, and countless videos online. Voices are everywhere, but here lies the paradox. In a world overflowing with voices, the real scarcity is not words, but ears. Studies reveal that the average person remembers only about 25% of what they hear, which means when someone speaks for 4 minutes, we truly absorb only one. And in the digital age, even that 1 minute is often lost in the endless scroll. Freedom of speech was meant to empower dialogue, but without listening, it has become an arena of noise. Think about what happened on social media. According to research from MIT, false information spreads 6 times faster than the truth, because outrage travels farther than empathy. The louder the words, the more viral they become. The more extreme the opinion, the more attention it receives. And so, instead of connecting us, our so-called freedom of speech often divided us. We live in an echo chamber where only hear what we already agree with, while silencing the rest with a single click. It's not only dialogue, this is digital segregation. And when listening dies, empathy dies. When empathy dies, understanding dies. And when understanding dies, freedom itself is at risk. This is why listening matters more than ever, especially for us, the younger generation. We are the loudest generation in human history. With one post, one video, one hashtag, our voices can reach millions. But ask yourself honestly, are we building conversation or are we simply adding to the chaos? Because true leaders are not the ones who shout the loudest. True leaders are the ones who listen the deepest. Listening builds trust.
Listening creates respect. Listening transforms scattered noise into shared wisdom. History itself proved this. Abraham Lincoln, Nelson Mandela, even our founding fathers were not remembered merely for their speeches, but also for their ability to listen to the people. They knew freedom of speech is not only about words spoken, it is about voices acknowledged. So what must we do? First, we must practice the discipline of active listening. Do not just wait for your turn to talk. Pause, understand, then respond. Second, we must dare to listen not only to voices that echo our belief, but also to those that challenge them. Because democracy does not grow in echo chamber, it grows in dialogue. And third, we must listen with empathy. Behind every word is a human being with a story, with pain, with dialogue, and sometimes silence filled with this. We cannot shout louder, but we need to listen more, and then you can speak up. Ladies and gentlemen, freedom of speech is not the right to speak. It is the responsibility to listen. If we want freedom of speech to survive in this noisy world, we must listen actively as well as value speaking. The world needs more ears because only when we learn to listen will freedom of speech truly come alive. So yes, speak your truth, speak with courage, but remember this. The most powerful sound of freedom is not always the voice that shout, but the silence that listen. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and have a good day, everyone.
Thank you, Kak Amanda Peter. Oke, untuk Ibu Yuta, dipersilakan untuk memberikan pertanyaan. Terima kasih.
Okay, thank you. Congratulations, Amanda. I called you Amanda or Amanda?
All right, hello, thank you very much. Yeah, you can call me Amanda.
Amanda. Okay, Amanda, you really did great presentations.
Thank you very much.
You can manage your time very well. And then you pointed all your strong points with very good. So, and also you have good time management. So I really appreciate your presentation. I enjoy it. So I would like to comment about the script and about how you made the opinions, because I think it's really great idea. The speaking and listening should be reciprocal, right?
Mhm.
So in when you built the script, how did you get the idea to link, to bridge, to connect about the speaking and listening? And then in your opinion, it's really, I mean, really your personal opinion, do you think to create a meaningful dialogue or interactions to have like mutual understanding and to build the actions, what is the point that everyone needs to build up to enhance the connection between their conversations in offline and online, please?
All right, thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to say for my preparation of speech, why do I get this idea of linking the conversation as well as not just speaking, but you need to listen? Because yesterday, actually, I just got my TOEFL test, basically a week ago before I started my, script preparation. I got my TOEFL test, and during my TOEFL test, yeah, I got very low in listening. So then it comes up to my mind that, oh, okay, maybe I just need to click some several, I just need to link between that, not only just speaking, because my strength in speaking on the TOEFL test was very high. However, my listening was very bad. So then I started to get into the idea, well, this is actually not about speaking the loudest, because I may speak the loudest, but if I didn't listen too much to the outside world or to the, to the person who tests me TOEFL or IELTS, then I might get very bad score, right? So by that, I got the ideas of actually linking the conversation as well as not just speaking the loudest, but also listening. And aside from that, I also got one of the previous, because, my classroom, yeah, they do usually only speak the loudest. They might shout and scream during argument. But then it comes up to my mind when they don't listen clearly about what is actually the enemy maybe proposing the argument, it might be actually very bad, because or else if you're not listening actively but you're just shouting without giving your argument or without proving it with factual, it might be very weak, especially when you propose the argument. So that's the reason. And second one, how do we exactly enhance and link, or maybe it is why it is very crucial to actually link the speaking as well as the listening. So first, a lot of people, I always notice that Indonesian people, they tend to only see. Usually, some titles on news, they usually make it like very, very engaging. Like, for example, oh, this young girl, she died, but you didn't see what is actually the cause of her dying, right? You didn't see what is the cause of her maybe getting some this kind of situation. And Indonesian people, they tend to like, oh my god, Amanda, I just read this news, but then I don't know what is actually happening. So that's the reason I don't want that kind of thing happen. We as the young generation, the next, we're the one who's leading to the golden Asia vision of 2045. We need to listen more, read more, not only seeing the loudest title, not only seeing this provocative title, but we need to see the insight. What is actually the meaning of this? What is actually this person problem? What is actually this person intention? Because we tend to only listen on one side without even listening on the other side, which means when you are listening on the one side, you tend to listen those who speak louder, not those with intention. So I think that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Can I have one more question, actually?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Right. Like everyone has the opinions, right? And everyone choose to listen what they want to choose, what they want to listen, right? So it's kind of a bit biased because sometimes we just listen that we want to hear. So what is your opinion about those facts?
All right, so yes, I've ever been put in that position as well. And someone just made up some, several rumors about me. But one thing I've heard is from my mom is that she always say that what they heard and believe. Of course, at first I try to think as well, like you. I try to think like what they heard and believe. So that's a bit biased then. Then what's the point of us giving our solution, our reason, if they're only listening to those who speak the loudest? But then comes back again to the main point that sometimes, no matter how hard we have tried to convince them, it's actually their own life. Yes, it is true that it's actually their own life, whether to believe us or not. That's the reason why they think that, oh, of course, I listen to this person because they're the loudest. They don't see the reason, but that's okay because we cannot push them, because we cannot control them to actually believe us, to actually listen to us. And that is how I actually basically like act on that situation, because I believe that every person, they have their own reason. For example, they don't want to listen to my opinion or reason about this situation because they heard the loudest news about my bad side or maybe my good side. But the moment is that, yeah, it's actually their own life as well. We cannot control what is not in our boundaries and what is not in our values. People, they can just like give a lot of bad things to us. They can spread rumor about us, but yes, back again, we cannot control them. So basically, what they heard and believe is their own choices. Because at the end of the day, we didn't regret the things we serve. We didn't regret the things we actually do for intention, for a kind intention, and for the courage to take and to speak up. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. Great job.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Terima kasih Amanda, terima kasih Ibu Yuta, terima kasih atas speech dan pertanyaannya yang luar biasa ya. Oke, kita akan lanjut ke peserta selanjutnya ya. Kita akan spill lagi nama peserta. Oke, kita akan lihat kira-kira siapakah yang akan menyampaikan speech-nya ya. Kita lihat bersama-sama. Ya, oke. Oke, selanjutnya yaitu Kak Anggita Restu Kemala Putri dari SMA Plus PGRI Cibinong dengan judul The Butterfly Effect ya. Oke, Kak Raisya Medina, halo. Apakah suara saya sudah terdengar? Sorry, Anggita Restu ya, mohon maaf. Oke. Untuk selanjutnya yaitu Kak Anggita Restu Kemala Putri ya dari SMA Islam Al-Azhar 8 Bekasi ya. Mohon maaf dengan judul Indonesia Science Center English Speech Contest 2025 ya. Oke, untuk Kak Anggita, apakah sudah hadir? Dan suara saya terdengar? Halo Kak Anggita? Halo?
Dah, yes.
Oke. Sudah terdengar suara saya, Kak? Baik. Oke. Mohon maaf, suara Kakak belum terdengar.
Yes.
Oh ya, oke. Tapi agak kecil ya Kak suaranya. Mohon maaf. Coba tolong ngomong beberapa kata sebentar ya untuk mengetes.
Is my voice audible?
Mungkin bisa didekatkan mic-nya, dinaikkan atau didekatkan.
Is it better now?
Ya, better. Oke ya. Oke. Kak Anggita nanti mungkin agak lebih kencang ya suaranya ya. Oke, terima kasih Kak Anggita. Oke, Kak Anggita sudah siap?
Yes.
Oke, Kak Anggita bisa dimulai speech-nya 3, 2, 1.
Imagine a world where your thoughts and opinions are taken into consideration. A world where your own voice is heard and plays a role in making changes for the better lives of people. Long before us, people had fought for the world that we live in today. A world full of democracy and equality. No excessive stratification that values how much your voice matters, nor feeling haunted when you're trying to express yourselves. And these are all crucial for self growth, especially for the young generations who will become leaders in this modern world. And we've all prepared for that future, haven't we? Taking up public speaking courses and leadership programs, all that, if not accompanied by the perfect understanding of what freedom of speech is, could lead to the very thing that we've been preparing for collapse and cease to exist. Honorable judges, respected audiences, and fellow contestants, I'm Anggita Restukumala Putri from Islamic School of Al-Azhar 8 Bekasi, and with this opportunity that's been given to me, allow me to present a speech with the pressing theme for the sake of a well-guaranteed future, which is freedom of speech. Now, before I get big into talking about how freedom of speech plays a crucial role in making a better future, firstly, we need to understand what that term actually means. So, what is freedom of speech? Well, freedom of speech is a vast concept. It's not just limited to political discourse or public demonstrations out on the street. It actually takes up space in our daily lives too, starting from small environments like family and friends. Nowadays, we've seen lots of teenagers who struggle to express what they're trying to say, be it in the form of stuttering, repeating their words over and over again, or simply by staying quiet even when a discussion feels one-sided. And all of these habits do not form on their own. It goes a long way back to how their childhood was. Maybe it's the effect of not being heard as they're trying to clarify themselves when they get into trouble. Or maybe it's the effect of their feelings being unrecognized when they cry. A research even shows that more than 20% of teenagers in Indonesia experience emotional neglect as a child. And this percentage may seem trivial from all the population in Indonesia, but the effect it has on these teenagers lasts for many years. From the childhood that they had, they learn that speaking up is wrong, that standing up for themselves is unnecessary and could lead to people pushing them away. And so they resort to shutting their voices and emotions out. Now, as they grow older, they'd expect to heal that wound with something, or even someone. But even our country doesn't make that wound any better. Indonesia is a country of democracy. It's even stated in our ideology. It's supposed to have the purpose of guiding people on how they live and act. But now that purpose is no more. When people hold demonstrations out on the street, it carries their aspirations all together with the purpose of being heard by everyone else. But even so, their own government shuts their voices out. Many people who have nothing but their voices to make a change are easily ruled out, constantly shut off from inspiring people all around the world. Maybe the government shuts their aspirations out because it's not delivered ethically. But still, they chose to use a repressive move, directing more to a violent one as a way to disperse those activists. We've seen many news that show how demonstrations were dismissed by using tear gas or even worse, gunshots. And these actions are definitely not justified. But we also need to consider our actions as to how we deliver those aspirations to not cause discomfort for some people. Having freedom in presenting our aspirations doesn't mean no boundaries in doing so. We need to understand that everything has its boundaries, and to use the freedom that we have, we need to know and accept the boundaries established. You know, just because we have a right to voice our thoughts doesn't mean that we can go full on hate speech or defame someone. With rights come responsibilities. We have a right to speak for ourselves, but we also need to fulfill the responsibility to use that right for positive aspirations. Now, before I end this speech, let me deliver a quote by a great American orator and former slave, Frederick Douglass. He said that liberty is meaningless where the right to utter one's thoughts and opinions has ceased to exist. Now, this came back to my point that understanding the freedom of speech is crucial for making a better future where democracy still exists and is well. Thank you.
Oke, terima kasih Kak Anggita atas speech-nya ya. Wah, luar biasa. Oke, selanjutnya yaitu Pak Tony. Halo Pak Tony, dipersilakan untuk memberikan pertanyaan.
Okay. Thank you for the very good performance. I have to ask you about gestures. How do you usually practice your gestures, or how to prepare your gestures to be presented at this time? I really need to know you. And the second question for me is, how do you practice speaking at home? Perhaps how to be able to make a pronunciation split or fluent. How do you practice that at school?
Thank you for the questions. I'm sorry I didn't quite hear the questions, but let me tell you what I heard. Is it that you're asking how I practice my fluency and the gestures?
Yes.
Yes. So firstly, fluency, I've actually been raised with Disney Channel and Disney Juniors. I never really watched Indonesian TV shows. And so since I was a kid, I've been hearing lots of English words, and I started picking them up since I was a kid. And I've been also joining spelling bees, speech contests, debate since I was a kid, and that was how I actually practiced up my fluency. And with gestures, it's also complementary to the contests that I've been joining, like speech contests. I've been to a lot of them actually, and it helps me with gestures. Also, by joining lots of those speech contests, I practice in front of the mirror most of the time.
Right. Do you think that your previous performance also give you a good experience so that whenever you have to explore your gestures all the time during the speech contest like this, you feel sure that your gestures is good enough with the topic?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear the questions.
I mean, do you practice performing the gestures at home, right, to prepare your speech?
Yes,
Yes.
actually, with
So
gestures.
how do you feel very sure that your gestures fit with the topic?
So what you're asking is how my gestures complement what I'm trying to say? Yeah. Firstly, the gestures come after I've actually practiced this, what I'm trying to say, the script. I would try to get myself into the script, but how I would deliver this, how I would feel while delivering this speech, and then the gestures would come as I practice in front of the mirror. And when I feel that this gesture is less, it's not enough, I would try to change it into elaborating what I'm trying to say. So yeah, gestures come after I've actually understood what I've written or what I'm trying to deliver in a speech.
Okay. Question second for me is that how do you get the references for your topic today?
References. Actually, it's quite a bit from my daily life. I've heard so many stories from my friends how their parents are emotionally unavailable, or they're really scared to speak up, or even presenting in front of the class. It's one of the few factors that they're scared that nobody will listen, or they will stutter, they will be ashamed of going in front of a lot of people. And while developing that topic, I've also heard all the news, especially from the campaign season, where all demonstrations are very often heard in the news. I just mixed up both of this to make my script of this speech.
Okay. I need to ask you more about how do you memorize the speech?
How I revise the speech?
How did you memorize the speech?
Memorize the speech.
The method. Tell me about the method in a detail, as detailed as possible.
Well, memorizing comes easily for me. It's one of my very exceptional skills that I have. I'm not really good at calculating or anything, but I've been good at memorizing since I was a kid. And memorizing only takes me around, if I could memorize it for one whole day without any interruptions, I could do it. And the script, it only took about 4 hours actually in memorizing, and then
In a
I
day.
would. Sorry?
In a day.
Yes.
So you practice memorizing the scripts before you deliver the speech 4 hours in a day, or perhaps more than 4 hours in a day?
4 hours and 10.
4 hours in a day. Okay. Do you also sometimes read references or perhaps watch the videos of speech from YouTube just to enrich your method in delivering speech like this?
Right. For references, reading, I usually just watch the news. And for YouTube speeches, I actually take up inspiration from my past speeches videos to know the correlation of what I'm speaking back then to now. And also for the reading part, I don't think that there's a lot of books to cover what I'm really trying to deliver, because it's about going from the childhood they had to not speaking properly while they're an adult, and also the governmental controversy about speaking up. And I don't really think that I've seen these books in my school library, so I usually just take it up from the internet, the news, articles, and everything.
Oke, mohon
Okay,
maaf
thank you.
waktunya sudah habis. Terima kasih untuk Kak Anggita dan Pak Tony. Luar biasa nih ya. Oke, kita akan melihat peserta kita selanjutnya ya. Kita akan spin lagi. Kira-kira siapa ya peserta kita selanjutnya ya? Oke, kita akan lihat bersama-sama. Oke, yaitu Kak Aisyah Syifa Iskandar dari SMA Jakarta Intercultural School dengan judul The Paradox of Our Voice ya. Kak Aisyah, halo,
Iya.
apakah suara saya terdengar?
Halo, suara saya terdengar tidak ya?
Ya, sudah terdengar Kak. Oke,
Iya.
apakah sudah siap Kak Aisyah?
Sudah, nanti saya akan mulai speech saat udah ngomong bahasa Inggris ya.
Oh, oke, ya, oke. Baik, saya akan hitung ya Kak ya untuk mulai speech-nya. Oke? Oke, speech akan dimulai dalam hitungan 3, 2, 1.
Suara saya udah terdengar tidak ya?
Sudah terdengar Kak?
Oke.
Oke ya. Oke, speech akan dimulai dalam hitungan 3, 2, 1. Silakan Kak.
Every August, we proudly wave our flags, sing the national anthem, and celebrate our freedom. Well, what does that really mean? Especially when it comes to freedom of speech in this digital age. Nelson Mandela once said, "To be free is not merely to cast off one's shackles, but it is to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others." And yet, in today's world, we are living a paradox. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Aisha from Jakarta Intercultural School, and I believe that in this current age, we are freer than ever to speak. But we are also more afraid to speak than ever before. This is a paradox that we are faced with. In 2024, Daniel, a young environmentalist activist, posted a video about pollution in Karimun, Jawa. It wasn't hate, it was awareness. But instead of sparking a conversation, it sparked a legal battle. Daniel was arrested under the ITE law, and Daniel is far from alone. According to Amnesty International Indonesia, 758 individuals were criminalized under the ITE law from January 2018 to July 2025. The majority were charged with hate speech and defamation, yet many were just expressing their own opinions. Even more concerning, 634 of those people were convicted. And these cases weren't isolated. They happened all across 38 provinces in Indonesia. These numbers can feel distant, like something that can only happen to activists or influencers, but the truth is, fear doesn't only begin in courtrooms. It can begin much smaller. A while back, I wrote a short opinion piece for the school's newsletter about student involvement in climate action. I was proud of it. It was fact-based, hopeful, and calm. But when I posted it on social media, I was surprised by the backlash I received. Some people accused me of being too political. Others said I was overstepping as a student. I started questioning whether I should have just talked less, whether I should have just stayed quiet. I wasn't silenced by the law. I was silenced by guilt. And I'm not alone in experiencing this, because that's when I realized freedom of speech isn't just about law, it's a mindset, it's a culture. We live in a generation where we have powerful tools of expression, social media and online forums, yet we are silenced, not just because of the law, but because of fear. Fear of being misunderstood, fear of being punished for being honest. So, what's the solution? Not less freedom, but more empathy. Not more laws, but more digital literacy. We need to shift from a culture of outrage to a culture of understanding, to disagree without attacking, to speak, and also to listen. That's why I started Knowledgeable, an online digital platform that helps youth understand their legal rights in simpler terms. Because young people don't just need opinions, we need information. So when we speak bravely, but also responsibly. And when we do speak, it matters more than we think. Once someone reached out to me because after reading a post I posted about youth rights according to law, they said, I didn't know about some of these rights. Now I do. That moment reminded me that speech isn't just about noise, it's about making someone feel less alone. It's about turning information into power. George Orwell once said, the best use of free speech is to tell others what they don't want to hear. And I believe that in the power of words, but not because they're loud, because they're true. Let's choose to speak not just because we can, but because it matters. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih Kak Aisyah atas speech-nya. Oke, baik, selanjutnya kepada Ibu Dini. Dipersilakan untuk memberikan pertanyaan, Ibu. Terima kasih.
Okay, can you hear me, Aisyah?
Iya.
All right. I like how your choice of words.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Your time management is also very nice. Exactly 5 minutes. How long did you
Thank you.
practice?
To be honest with you, I practiced a lot because I believe that I wanted to express my best self. This is a topic that I personally believe in. I also experienced it as I talked about in my speech, and it really resonated with me. So I wanted to give my best performance, and so I rehearsed many times. I actually started writing my speech ever since the finals announcement went out, so it's been a while.
All right, very good. Okay, so I like how you choose the word paradox. Why do you choose the word paradox as a title for your speech?
I believe that freedom of speech is a paradox because in this current age, especially with the digital era, we have so many tools for expression. As I said before, I could post on social media, but the paradox of it is that with how much expression we're supposed to have, we're supposed to use it, right? But people instead are afraid, as I was before. We were afraid because we were afraid of being punished for being honest, and because laws accompany that could punish us. But instead of being afraid, I found that yes, there is a paradox for our voice, but let's overcome it. Let's choose to speak with the fear in mind and overcome that fear so that we can speak and it matters for other people, so that we can speak and impact and help other people, as I've said before, because I had the privilege of posting about youth rights according to law. And some people contacted me saying that, oh, it really helped them because they didn't know about these rights. So I believe that even in spite of this fear, we need to overcome it and speak what we need to.
Very good.
Thank
Next
you.
question is as a youngsters, as a what is it? What do you call it? Social media are raging right now, as many youngsters use it to say what they want. How do you think that what is it? How do you call it that is a freedom of speech as a youngsters? That wasn't. How do you distinguish between between
Right.
that kind of things?
Actually, thank you so much for bringing that up because this speech was actually different from my last video speech, where in my last video speech, I talked about the importance of our voice. Because although we can't be fearful when speaking our truth, because we need to be honest, we need to speak when we are right, it doesn't mean that we can speak anything we want. Freedom of speech does come with its limits, but these limitations can't monitor our every words. So we have to be mindful when speaking to others. We can't insult them. We can't damage their reputation, but we have to speak with the mind of being a kind person and wanting what's right for the world. I talked about it in my last speech too, where I talked about how the speech of we have the privilege of speech. It's called the freedom of speech. You have a right to it as humans in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So because we have that right, we need to use it and wisely.
Okay, so it's quite different with being assertive, is it?
I would say it depends on the context. Because we need to, as humans, of course, we understand social situations. So if we need to be assertive to voice our opinions, and if our opinions are the right thing to voice out, then yes, that is the time to be assertive. But for example, if I were talking to a teacher, then I would, of course, say it politely.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Aisyah.
Thank you so much.
Oke, terima kasih Kak Aisyah dan Ibu Dini, terima kasih banyak. Oke, kita akan berganti ke peserta selanjutnya ya. Baik, kita akan spin lagi nama-nama pesertanya ya. Oke, kita akan saksikan bersama ya. Kira-kira siapakah peserta selanjutnya yang akan menyampaikan speech-nya ya? Oke, kita lihat bersama-sama. Oke, selanjutnya yaitu Ahmad Kais Maximilian ya dari SMP Negeri 73 Jakarta. Oke. Halo Kak Ahmad Kais.
Halo.
Oke, sudah siap Kak?
Bentar ya kalau saya mulai ngomong bahasa Inggris.
Oke. Oke. Jika sudah siap, saya akan hitung ya Kak. Coba mungkin bisa dicek suaranya Kak?
Halo.
Ya, oke, terdengar. Ya, baik. Oke, sudah siap ya Kak ya? Saya hitung ya Kak. Speech bisa dimulai dalam hitungan 3, 2, 1. Silakan.
Honorable juries and dear friends. What is a voice worth if it cannot be heard? A voice unheard is a dignity denied. And that is why I'm here today. Honorable juries and dear friends, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Ahmad Kais Maximilian, a proud delegate from SMP Negeri 73 Jakarta. I'm here to remind us all that freedom of speech is not just about a privilege. It's not just about a privilege. It is the very integral part of our dignity as human beings. Freedom of speech isn't just about who shouts the loudest. It is having the courage to share our thoughts, having the willingness and humility to listen, and having the wisdom to learn from one another. We don't always have to agree, and that's perfectly okay. What matters is that we stand on behalf of wisdom and mutual respect. That is the core of the fourth principle in Pancasila. Kerakyatan dipimpin oleh hikmat kebijaksanaan dalam permusyawaratan perwakilan. It is what allows us to practice real democracy, for decisions to be made from the people, by the people, and for the people, not from the elite and noble. Because we are not that nation. So let us protect this freedom. Let's use our voice not to hurt, but to heal. Not to divide, but to unite. Because when every voice matters, every person matters. And that is the mark of a truly free society. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih Kak Ahmad Kais ya. Oke, untuk selanjutnya yaitu Ibu Yuta. Halo Ibu Yuta. Oke, Ibu Yuta dipersilakan untuk memberikan pertanyaan.
Oke, halo Ahmad. Halo. Okay. Can you listen me? Can you hear me? Halo.
Halo Ahmad.
Halo, Ahmad. I think can you hear me?
Sorry, my speaker was muted. I'm sorry, but can you repeat the question?
No, I haven't asked you anything. I
sorry.
just I check here.
Sorry.
Congratulations for your speech. Can I know how old are you?
My name is Ahmad Kais Maximilian. I'm a student from SMP Negeri 73 Jakarta. I'm 14 years of age and I'm from class 9C. Ninth grader.
Yes, 14 years old. And you show about the confidence in your presentations is really good presentations. You talk with confidence, but if I can give you any suggestions, maybe for your next speech in another performance, you need to prepare your sounds because somewhat your voice is kind of a bit echoing, but it's okay. So
my microphone on the I thought my microphone on the computer was off, so my voice was echoing, right?
Yes, it's really unpredictable situations, but you can handle it well. All right. So I really when I listen your speech and I close my eyes and I can feel your patience about the topics because you talk real confident and loud. So in your opinion, when you develop the scripts in your capacity as a junior students, high school students, right? What is the meaning of democracy? Is it not from it is if it's not from the authoritative things, and if it's not a real democracy, in your opinion, what is the real democracy things?
So, what is a real democracy? Like what, from my honest opinion?
In your in your honest opinion, in your perspective.
Sorry. Well, my opinion is just the same as my speech. For decisions to be made from the people, by the people, and for the people. It's a quote from Abraham Lincoln. He's the pioneer for the civil rights movement. Not the civil, for slaves to be freed in the United States of America. So the democracy in Indonesia, it's, yeah, it's not the best because decisions and the yay and nay are protested after it is implemented. So democracy policies in real democracy should be debated before it is implemented. So that a tax increase, people should debate whether it is right or not for taxes to be increased. Not in Indonesia, it's a normal thing. Like oh yeah, the government has announced a tax raise for UMKM, for example. And then we debate the yay and nay, like what are the benefits and what are the benefits and not the benefits of that being implemented. So yeah.
Okay, all right. So you mean that the governments or the authorities should think more carefully, and like before they decided something, they should have like really details and really well considered plan, right? So uh, if government want to listen people's voices as like real democracy voices, what do you think the party or the community that they should pay attention more? What sectors?
So like, what are the demographics of the people that need to be listened more by the government?
Yes, in your opinion.
Well, for me, the very meaning of democracy is that it satisfies almost all of the people in society. So like, we must, so like in a real democracy, it should be, we should have a middle ground for all of the people, and for all of the people in the society should be in the middle ground. So sorry, what you meant, that what specific group of people, right?
Yes, or maybe the educator things, the
Oh, yeah.
academic society.
Well,
in your
yeah.
opinion.
What the government should prioritize in their willingness to listen to the people is that they should listen to the people first before they listen to a specific demographic. Because in our experience as Indonesian citizens, the government mostly is benefiting for themselves, because there are like nobles and then the president is like the king. We should not be like that. It should be, again, from the people, by the people, and for the people. So, and the citizens should be critical of the information and the campaign that is being campaigned by the pasangan calon, by the candidates for presidential election, by the parliament. They should think before they vote in a cause, because what they vote affects all of the people, not just themselves.
All right. Thank you, Ahmad. I really appreciate your opinions because it's bring up it's brought about your courageous, you're passionate about the topic. So congratulations and then hope the luck for you.
Oke, terima kasih untuk Kak Ahmad, Kais, dan Ibu Yuta. Terima kasih banyak. Oke, semuanya masih pada semangat ya? Masih pada semangat nggak nih?
Ya Kak.
Semangat ya. Oke, kita lihat nih peserta selanjutnya siapa ya? Oke, kita akan spin lagi nama-nama pesertanya. Kita akan saksikan bersama siapakah peserta selanjutnya. Oke. Peserta selanjutnya yaitu Kak Raisya Medina dari SMA Plus PGRI Cibinong dengan judul The Butterfly Effect ya. Oke, silakan Kak Raisya, apakah sudah terdengar?
Okay, can you hear my voice clearly? Is my voice clear enough?
Oke, sudah terdengar ya. Oke, sudah siap Kak?
Inshallah.
Oke. Oke, speech akan dimulai dalam hitungan ketiga ya Kak. 3, 2, 1.
Have you ever thought a tiny thing that can change everything? Well, that's what we call the butterfly effect. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My dearest welcome to esteemed judges, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Raisya Medina Azahra, and previously in the selection, I've been talking about unmuting yourself. And today, right now, I will be talking about the effect of unmuting yourself through a theory called the butterfly effect. What is butterfly effect? Butterfly effect is the idea that tiny things can lead to a big changes. And it's like a butterfly flapping their wings. And someday, days after, somewhere far away, there's a storm happening. I know, it might sound impossible, but one thing we can learn, that little thing matters. History shows it again and again. In 1955, Rosa Parks refused to give her seat in the bus. One tiny action sparkled a big changes in civil rights movement. And even in our daily life, a simple smile to a stranger, a helpful hand to a friend, or one strong decision, one brave decision can change someone's future. Every choice we made creates a ripple. What we say, what we do, even what we don't do, it all matters. You study today, maybe you will reach your success tomorrow. You speak up once, maybe you inspire someone else today. And one act of kindness can lead to hundreds or thousands. So when you think your voice doesn't matter, just remember, when a butterfly flaps their wings, the world changes. And it goes the same way to you too. So speak up. Don't worry. Don't be afraid of other judgment. Because we don't know which word, which movement that will lead to a great changes. This will be the end of my speech. I'm sorry for any mistake. Thank you for listening. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih Kak Raisya atas speech-nya yang luar biasa. Oke, untuk selanjutnya yaitu Pak Tony. Halo Pak Tony. Oke. Dipersilakan untuk memberikan pertanyaan Pak Sultoni. Terima kasih.
Okay, Aisha. I need to ask you, what was the most challenging part of preparing a speech? And how did you overcome it?
Okay, may I repeat your question? What is the challenge of preparing my speech? And how do I overcome it? My honest answer is the time management, because my school is a full day school, so I've been so busy lately with so many projects and so many organizations. That will be one of the main problems that I need to over that I need to get rid of. So I manage it by dividing my time every day to have at least 10 minutes or 1 hour to prepare my script and to memorize it 1 week before the grand final. That will be my
Okay.
answer, sir.
Okay. So my next question is, if you had more time to speak, what additional ideas would you include in your speech?
Pardon me, would you like to repeat your question, please?
Okay. If you had more time to speak, what additional ideas would you include in your speech if you had more time to speak?
If I had more time to speak, I will include the idea of that the freedom of speech won't affect a lot if you don't dare to speak. So you need to know the basic theory that you're brave enough to speak. Then that freedom of speech will be something that is precious for you. I think I will explain a bit more details about it if I had more time.
Okay. So next is about nervousness. What strategies do you use to handle nervousness during speech?
How I handle my nervousness is by accepting it. I accept that nervousness is a sign that I'm excited for it. And what I mean by excited is that I can give, that I should give my best. So the nervousness can change to a spirit to give my best for this performance.
All right. How do you make sure that your speech connect with the audience emotionally?
How do I make sure my speech connect to the audience? Is
Emotionally.
by emotionally. The first thing that matters is I know what I say. I know what I want to say, and I'm honest of what I'm saying. That will be the basic thing that I planned for myself every time I'm joining a speech competition. I like the topic and I know what I'm saying. And the second one is to make it slowly, but sure, so that the audience can understand me. That that will be come to zero again if the audience cannot connect with me, doesn't understand me, or think that I'm talking too fast. So keep it slow and give some points that they can understand will make, I believe, can make me connect to the audience emotionally.
Okay. After this competition, how will you continue improving your public speaking skills?
After this competition, I will, of course, improve my public speaking skills because after this competition, I joined another public speaking competitions. So I keep improving by keep joining a new competition and of course improving my vocabulary through a dictionary or a daily conversation with my friends.
Right. Okay. About your gesture talk. Do you learn from YouTube or perhaps supervised by your teacher about the gesture you made in the speech contest? Can you tell me more?
Okay. I did learn from YouTube. I used to watch TED Talks or some public speaking contest. And what I learned from them is your gesture will describe how you connect with your audience. Your gesture will describe your personality. So what I'm trying to give my image is I'm calm, I'm confident, and one of my favorite gesture is to put my hands like this because what I believe and some experts believe that this will make your audience feel safer and feel that you're the right person to be trusted.
Okay, I think I will ask you one more. If someone disagrees with the message of your speech, how would you respond?
They have the right to disagree of what I speak. And I do have the right to speak what I want to speak. So, of course, I will ask why. And if the reason is reasonable or I still can make sure them, I will try to. But if it's a different point of view, if I can't really understand them and they do the same, I will move on because I think that I cannot make sure everyone believes in what I say. That will be my answer.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oke, terima kasih Kak Raisya atas speech-nya dan terima kasih Pak Sultoni atas pertanyaannya. Wah, oke kita akan lanjut ke peserta berikutnya ya. Kita akan spin kembali nama-nama pesertanya. Oke, kita akan lihat bersama-sama. Siapakah selanjutnya yang akan menampilkan speech-nya ya? Oke, kita lihat. Oke, yaitu Kak Ilma Budinavia. Mohon maaf tapi ya untuk Kak Ilma Budinavia seperti yang sudah saya sampaikan tadi ya. Kak Ilma akan di akhir. Oke. Untuk selanjutnya yaitu Kak Muhammad Dignity Zaki ya dari SMA Islam Al-Azhar 8 Bekasi dengan judul Six Semper Tyrannis ya. Oke, Kak Muhammad Dignity Zaki, apakah sudah terdengar suara saya? Halo, sudah terdengar?
Sudah terdengar.
Oke, suaranya sudah terdengar, namun mungkin bisa agak lebih dekat lagi ya mic-nya. Dibesarkan lagi juga suaranya ya.
Iya, siap.
Oke, apakah sudah siap, Kak?
Siap.
Oke, speech akan dimulai dalam hitungan ke 1, 2, 3. Silahkan dimulai.
Sic semper tyrannis, a Latin proverb that means thus always to tyrants. When I first heard this quote, I didn't quite understand the notion or even the significance of this one phrase. But as my life progressed on and on and on, the more knowledge I possessed and the more experienced I became, the more I understood the significance of this being more than just a quote. It is a statement, a reminder, a truth that no such tyrannical rules will stay forever and that they will be purged one day. But before we continue on, it would be quite improper as for me not to address myself, so allow me to do so. Hello there, everyone. My name is Muhammad Diknizaki from Al-Azhar 8 Senior High School, here to deliver this hopefully inspiring speech. Now, let me continue by first providing context. Everyone, our beloved nation of Indonesia is currently facing turmoil, not externally, but internally, as seen with all of the corruptions that have become headliners over the several news outlets, such as example being Nadiem Makarim being a suspect of a huge corruption scheme as investigated by KPK. And what do our governments do about it? Nothing. They only silent those who speak up about them, really only proving that they have little to no critical thinking skills and a lack of empathy and even sympathy for those below them, essentially only adhering to those with power, making them jesters with little to no competence. Now, obviously, with all of these problems, it would naturally demand a solution, right? But how could we possibly solve something that in the grand scale of things seems so far out of reach that no matter what we do, it wouldn't necessarily cause a slight shift of change? Besides, wouldn't we just make it worse? Time and time again, the government has only proven that they are a deaf force of power. So why bother? Well, that's because the solution that I would like to present to you all is that we just have to still keep believing, to be patient with our own freedom to voice ourselves, to express ourselves. Now, everyone, I would like to take a page out of the history book real quick. Indonesia, our country's independence, our freedom, how was it gained? Was it through some overnight miracle? No, it was achieved through patience with our adversaries, that belief that we would be free one day. When we were against the Netherlands, the United Kingdom, or even the Portuguese, we were all at a massive disadvantage when it comes to military power, or even social status, and even intelligence. And yet we somehow persevered. Why? Because we believed that we would be free one day through our efforts alone. All of this even rings true with a quote from Albert Camus that states that freedom is not a gift from the state or leader. It is a possession to be won from the efforts of each and the union of all. Now, personally, how I would like to interpret this quote is that our freedom, my freedom, or even anyone's freedom for that matter, isn't something that we achieve through some kind of external force of power or some miracle. It is something that begins with us. By putting in effort on our daily mundane tasks, we are only getting closer and closer to that sweet, sweet taste and freedom. And I believe that by accumulating myself and even everyone's voices, I believe that it could create a powerful enough weapon to break the sound barrier created by those deaf rulers on top. In the end of the day, nothing truly lasts forever. And through history's constant cycle of repetition, especially supported by the quote, history repeats itself, I believe that those fools ruling our country won't stay for long and that they will be facing their inevitable downfall. As seen with Saddam Hussein ruling Iraq, it can happen. We just have to be patient. At the end of the day, patience is a virtue, and the freedom to voice ourselves is possible, especially in a democratic country. We just have to believe that we can create an invincible weapon. We just have to believe in Sic Semper Tyrannis. We just have to believe that we will have our justice. That's all from me. Thank you.
Oke, terima kasih banyak Kak Muhammad Dignity atas speech-nya. Oke, selanjutnya yaitu untuk Ibu Dini Nuraini. Dipersilakan untuk memberikan pertanyaan.
Okay. Hi, Muhammad Dignity. How should I call you?
Excuse me?
You have a nickname?
Oh yeah, I have a nickname. It's Digny.
Digny.
Yeah.
Okay. I like how you deliver your speech with clarity and also confidence, like the confidence there. How long have you practiced for this one?
Not very much because I had minimal practice. I'm a very busy person.
Very busy high school student. Okay. Well, because there's a short time in preparing the speech, what do you think is your weaknesses, or did you lack of something in your speech for today?
Lack of what? Excuse me?
Because of the short time, can you discover what is the weaknesses from your speech for today?
The witnesses. The witnesses of my speech, I would say it's more or less, well, from my experience mostly, but it's also really because me and my friends, we usually always talk about the problems surfacing around this country, and like we usually joke around about it, but it's usually tends to become very deep very quick. So the main witnesses is actually my friend and me, and also just news articles that I've seen time and time again that I'm just tired of reading So yeah.
Okay. So, so for the content, it's not very problem for you, is it?
What?
For the content of your material for your speak today, is it difficult for you to prepare it?
No, no. It wasn't really difficult to prepare for. It was just I'm not really a good memorizer, so it could be seen as difficult for me, but I guess from like many others, it probably wouldn't. So yeah.
Okay, very good. If you have to, there's a lot of pointer that you want your audience to understand, right? What do you think is the one thing that your audience should remember from your speech for today?
What they should remember is the fact that uh, by having patience and by voicing ourselves, I believe that it could one day succeed the same way it happened with me. I'm usually a very patient person, especially in school, and by using my patience and diligence, my ranking, my grades, it constantly keeps increasing. And I believe that it could be applied somewhere in the real life to the point where, yes, I would like my audience to believe that we just have to be patient and opportunistic with our ways of voicing our freedoms.
Okay, and how will you practice those values that you mentioned in your daily life?
I practice my values by working on them very diligently. My family life is very, very chaotic. So obviously I have to be patient. So with my brothers, my mother, my father, so I have to be the one that keeps them, so I have to be like the cool-headed person, whereas they're kind of hot-headed. Uh, it's basically we just need to be practical in how we see things. We just have to be realistic and just keep it simplistic, in my opinion, to the point where we can work on it routinely, and that's how I practice it. Yeah.
Okay, very good. And the last question, how would you respond if someone disagree with your point of view?
If someone were to disagree, well, my honest opinion is the fact that it's their opinion. Uh, it's not really something that I have full control over. The most I could possibly do is try to persuade them, but in the end of the day, we have drastically different backgrounds to the point where something that I see or view as correct might not be viewed by them as something that is correct as well. In the end of the day, humanity is drastically different within one another. So I can't necessarily disagree with them, even if they disagree with me. It's up to them. It's their own freedom and my own freedom. We are free to uh, disagree with one another and agree with one another. Yeah, it's about that.
Okay, thank you, Digi.
Yes.
Oke, thank you Dignity dan terima kasih Ibu Dini atas pertanyaannya dan atas speech-nya untuk Dignity. Oke, untuk selanjutnya yaitu ada Kak Nadira Hirani Azara Supriyatna dari SMA Negeri 2 Bandung dengan judul speech yaitu Freedom of Speech, The Right to Speak, The Wisdom to Pause. Oke, halo Kak Nadira Hirani, apakah sudah bergabung dengan kami? Halo Kak Nadira? Halo? Oke. Oh sudah? Oke, Alhamdulillah. Oke Kak Nadira, sudah terdengar suara saya ya?
Sudah, Kak.
Oke, mungkin bisa dibuka juga kameranya ya, di open cam. Oke.
Bentar.
Ya, baik. Oke, ya sudah terlihat Kak videonya.
Baik, bisa dimulai, Kak?
Oke, bisa dimulai ya. Dalam hitungan ketiga ya. Oke, sudah siap ya Kak? Oke, speech akan dimulai dalam hitungan ke 1, 2, 3. Silakan Kak.
Imagine a world where the truth is locked behind this black cloth, where silence isn't golden,
but forced, where even your own heartbeat feels too loud. My soul shudders because once that was what Indonesia's reality. Good morning, respected judges and dear friends. I'm Nadira Hirani, and I'm from SMA Negeri 2 Bandung. As Indonesia celebrates its 80th Independence Day yesterday, let us ask together, is freedom of speech just a right, or is it also a responsibility? Close your eyes and journey back in time. Imagine Sukarno daring to speak of freedom when words could mean death. Or imagine Kartini writing letters not only with ink, but with tears, fighting for women bound in silence. Picture a few young men in a dimly lit boarding room, voices hushed, but their hearts were on fire. One whispers, what if we declared independence ourselves without the help of anyone? That spark, born not in grand stages but in the quiet youth, became the roar of Merdeka in 1945. Freedom wasn't gifted, it was spoken into being. And today, in Indonesia, freedom of speech is a constitution. But in real life, we are tested every day. We scroll through social media, sometimes finding hope, and other times we find hate. We hear young voices, noises, hoaxes, and bullying. The challenge is not whether or not we can speak, but whether or not we can speak clearly and smartly. Last year, during a classroom poll in our school, my heart dreamed of a cultural showcase full of tari Sunda and also gamelan. A friend bravely suggested another ideas. My heart raced. Should I say it? Should I say, yes, let's do it? But my voice froze. When the counts were counted, our ideas lost. I learned that dreams need more than silent hope. They need our voices to live. But speaking is never without any risk. UNESCO reports that more than 80 journalists were killed last year just for daring to speak. Even here, some youth are silenced online, not by love, but by hate, cyberbullying, and also judgment. Yes, courage makes us speak, but wisdom shows how we speak. Words carry power. We can say, your idea is stupid, but why should we? Why not say, your idea could shine brighter with more thought? True freedom isn't the power to wound, it's the responsibility to heal, to unite, and to create change. This black cloth, sometimes it's forced upon us. Sometimes we must choose it too. To pause words that harm, to listen before we strike. My generation will shape Golden Indonesia 2045. We will face climate crisis, digital revolution, and global competition. And for each challenge, we need freedom of speech. Not as noise, not as anger, but as ideas, innovations, and hope. Speak boldly when truth is buried, pause when words could break, and also listen, not to argue, but to understand. In the spirit of Merdeka, let every voice rise. Imagine a nation where every idea blooms like bunga melati in our soil. That world begins with us. As Malala Yousafzai once said, we realize the importance of our voices only when we are silenced. So let's not wait for silence to know our strength. Let us speak, but not just speak casually, but wisely. Let's build and not break. I'm Nadira, and I believe even the quietest voice can change Indonesia. And even the quietest voice can change the world. Thank you.
Oke, terima kasih Kak Nadira Hirani ya. Oke, untuk selanjutnya yaitu Ibu Yuta. Untuk Ibu Yuta dipersilakan untuk memberikan pertanyaan.
Oke, halo Nadira, Dama. Okay. First of all, I really enjoyed your speech because you're very expressive and a bit theatrical, and you put a lot of ideas. So you you br- uh, you brought the topic from the historical perspective until your personal experiences and put the quote at the end. It's very for me it's very diverse and it's very really good to put it. So how did you develop the idea to connect all those things?
Well, the idea came from the what is it called? I got inspired, but specifically by during a history lesson because it was nearing the Independence Day of Indonesia. My history teacher once told us a story of how Sukarno and Kartini and all of these other historical figures had shaped Indonesia. But they also told us that our independence didn't happen because Japan gave it to us. It happened because the youth spoke, because the youth dared to speak. That is why I chose all these historical figures and also those quotes because they all inspired me to write this and also to uh, share all of my opinion on how freedom of speech isn't just a right but also a responsibility for us. Uh, what inspired me to uh, write this speech is also because online I see a lot of people cyberbullying and just speaking without thinking and without thoroughly thinking about what damage that they might cause with their own words. So that is why I chose this text as my speech for today.
All right. So based on your thoughts about them. So what is the biggest challenge to connect or to reach all the idea?
The biggest challenge to connect all of my ideas was um, how I could make this speech not only what is it called for this competition, but also to inspire and also to kind of educate others uh, to speak with wisdom and not just speak carelessly. Uh, the biggest challenge for me personally was finding the right words to kind of connect them, but with the help of my experiences and also uh, s- social media, I managed to kind of piece it all together in the end.
Did you get like some review from your parents, teachers, or maybe someone else?
I did ask for my parents and my English teacher's opinion on the text, and from their perspective, they said it was already kind of, they said it was already inspiring in a way. And so that is why I decided to continue with this text.
All right. So I've noticed because your speech kind of like trying to convince others to move to give an action. So what is your really true motives? Do you want your speech become like a trigger for the youths or what?
So I want my speech to become kind of educative, especially for the youth to speak with wisdom.
Okay.
Because in social media, specifically, when we express our own opinions, we typically get judged for it. Or there'll be people who disagree, but they don't disagree critically. They disagree um, kind of in a harmful way. So with my speech, I hope that I kind of inspire the youth to speak with more wisdom.
So I just want to ask. Actually, it's kind of a bit interesting for me. It's interesting because you say that people, especially youths, tend to speak a bit harmly in the digital spheres like social media. But somehow the research shows that they give opinions because they want to mix with the people majority's opinion. So mostly youth only getting want to getting want to fit in the ambiences. So do you think in social media people tend to be really honest? or they just want to fit in with common opinions?
In my opinion, personally, there are some people who speak with full honesty, but there are also a lot of people who have FOMO or fear of missing out. That is why some people, instead of speaking their truth or just saying their honest opinion, they kind of go with uh, what is more commonly said throughout social media or something like that, because they have a fear of missing out. But the truth is, we're not supposed to go with what everyone says. We're supposed to speak our mind because that is how we get more ideas. That is how we get more innovations. Uh, by sticking to uh, one opinion only, someone else's opinion, we uh, we struggle to get more ideas. Like my what is it called? Uh, like from my personal experience that I've previously said, uh, when we stay silent instead of speaking our opinion, it kind of uh, lets the ideas die down instead of like growing it. Because what if our actual truthful opinion is the better one for the future instead of others?
Okay, thanks you for your opinions and good luck.
Oke, terima kasih Kak Nadira atas speech-nya dan terima kasih Bu Yuta atas pertanyaannya. Wah, luar biasa ya. Oke, baik. Dikarenakan Kak Ilma Budi tidak dapat hadir pada hari ini, maka Kak Nadia merupakan peserta terakhir kita pada hari ini ya. Jadi saya ingin mengucapkan terima kasih banyak kepada para peserta dengan speech-nya yang sangat menarik dan luar biasa ya. Berikan tepuk tangan. Oke, kemudian juga terima kasih banyak kepada para juri kita yang luar biasa nih, yaitu Bu Yuta, Bu Didi, dan Pak Tony ya, luar biasa terima kasih banyak. Oke, baik. Sambil menunggu penilaian dari para juri, kita akan break sebentar ya, sekitar 20 menit. Dan nanti dimohon untuk berkumpul kembali ya pada pukul 11.45 ya. Jadi Bapak Ibu dan teman-teman bisa break sebentar atau bisa di off cam dulu, tidak apa-apa. Oke, terima kasih. Silakan untuk break sebentar.
Bapak Ibu, kita masuk ya. Kita bahas
Oke, semuanya, apakah sudah bergabung kembali?
Iya, sudah.
Sudah semua? Oke, baik. Bapak, Ibu, dan teman-teman, setelah break, apakah masih semangat nih?
Masih semangat ini.
Wah, luar biasa. Biar kita tambah semangat ya, saya mau mengajak Bapak, Ibu, dan teman-teman semua untuk menyuarakan tagline Indonesia Science Center ya, agar semangat kita semakin bertambah, oke ya, sebelum memulai lagi kegiatan kita pada hari ini, oke? Oke, jadi nanti ketika saya bilang Indonesia Science Center, Bapak, Ibu, dan teman-teman semua diharap untuk menjawab tempatnya jagoan sains, gitu ya?
Siap.
Oke, siap ya?
Tempatnya jagoan sains.
Ya, betul. Oke. Indonesia Science Center.
Tempatnya jagoan sains.
Oke, luar biasa. Beri tepuk tangan untuk kita semua. Wah, makin bersemangat ya untuk siang hari ini. Oke, baik Bapak, Ibu, dan teman-teman semua. Saya mohon izin akan memulai kembali acara kita pada hari ini ya. Yaitu Grand Final English Speech Contest 2025 Indonesia Science Center ya. Baik Bapak, Ibu, dan teman-teman semua, sebelum kita melanjutkan acara selanjutnya, kita akan melakukan foto bersama ya dengan para juri kita yang luar biasa pada hari ini ya. Oke, foto akan dilakukan beberapa kali, jadi dimohon untuk on kameranya. Oke, dipersilakan untuk on kameranya. Karena terdapat beberapa slide ya, kita akan melakukan beberapa kali foto. Sudah siap semuanya ya? Mohon untuk yang belum on cam, bisa mohon izin untuk di on kan kameranya. Oke, sudah semua ya. Bagi yang belum bisa on kameranya ya, mohon izin. Oke, kita akan foto ya, dimulai dalam hitungan 1, 2, 3. Oke, sekali lagi berikan senyum terbaiknya. 1, 2, 3. Oke, terima kasih Bapak, Ibu, dan teman-teman semua ya. Nah, baik. Bapak, Ibu, dan teman-teman peserta Grand Final Speech Contest 2025 Indonesia Science Center, kita telah sampai ke acara yang kita tunggu-tunggu, yaitu pengumuman pemenang Grand Final English Speech Contest 2025 Indonesia Science Center pada hari ini. Wah, kira-kira siapa ya yang akan menang ya? Oke, juara akan terbagi menjadi 3 kategori, yaitu juara gold, silver, dan bronze ya, dengan hadiah uang pembinaan. Oke, kira-kira sudah siap ini untuk melihat siapakah pemenangnya ya? Kita coba lihat bersama-sama ya. Sudah siap ya? Oke, jeng 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 jeng. Oke, kita akan memulai dari yang bronze terlebih dahulu ya. Kita lihat siapakah yang mendapat bronze dengan hadiah sebesar Rp600.000 yang masuk ke dalam kategori bronze, yaitu ada Kak Anggita Restu Kemala Putri ya dari SMA Islam Al Azhar 8 Bekasi. Kemudian ada Kak Ahmad Kais Maximilian dari SMP Negeri 3 Jakarta. Kemudian juga ada Kak Raisya Medina Az-Zahra dari SMA Plus PGRI Cibinong. Wah, luar biasa. Beri tepuk tangannya. Oke, masing-masing pemenang mendapatkan hadiah pembinaan sebesar Rp600.000. Oke, kita akan lanjut kembali ke silver winners ya. Oke, untuk silver winners sudah terlihat ya, yaitu Kak Aisyah Syifa Iskandar. Wah, dari Jakarta Intercultural School. Dan kemudian ada Kak Muhammad Dignity Zaki dari SMA Islam Al Azhar 8 Bekasi. Dan ada Kak Michael Audi dari SMA Negeri 1 Banda Aceh. Wah, beri tepuk tangannya. Selamat kepada para pemenang ya. Masing-masing pemenang akan mendapatkan uang pembinaan sebesar Rp750.000. Oke, untuk selanjutnya nih, kita masuk ke kategori gold. Kategori gold ini akan dibagi menjadi 3. Ada 1, 2, dan 3 ya. Kita akan masuk ke kategori gold yang ketiga. Oke, ketiga dulu ya. Kira-kira siapa ya? Jeng 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 jeng. Oke, Kanadira Hirani Azara Supriyatna dari SMA Negeri 2 Bandung ya. Kanadira mendapatkan hadiah sebesar Rp1.000.000. Beri tepuk tangannya ya. Wah, luar biasa. Terima kasih, Kak. Oke, untuk Kanadira, apakah masih di sini? Kanadira? Halo?
Sudah kembali ikut lomba, Kak.
Oh, lagi kembali ikut lomba ya? Oke, ya. Terima kasih. Oke, kita akan lanjut ke gold winners yang kedua. Kira-kira siapa ya? Jeng 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 jeng. Coba kita lihat. Wow, Kak Raihana Abdillah Al-Mahdali dari SMA Insan Cendikia Al-Kausar. Wah, luar biasa. Beri tepuk tangannya untuk Kak Raihana. Selamat, Kak. Kak Raihana mendapat uang pembinaan sebesar Rp1.500.000. Oke, terima kasih. Oke, selamat Kak Raihana. Selanjutnya, kita akan masuk ke gold winners yang pertama. Oke, sudah pada tahu siapa? Oke, kita lihat. Untuk gold winners yang pertama yaitu Kak Amanda Peter dari SMA Highfield Secondary School Cirebon ya. Selamat Kak Amanda, kita beri tepuk tangannya. Wah, luar biasa nih ya. Kak Amanda mendapatkan hadiah uang pembinaan sebesar Rp2.000.000. Wah, luar biasa ya. Ke-10 peserta kita pada hari ini ya, luar biasa sekali. Saya ucapkan selamat kepada para pemenang. Kerja keras dan dedikasi kalian telah membuahkan hasil yang luar biasa. Tetap semangat dan semoga kesuksesan terus menyertai langkah kalian semua ya. Oke, baik Bapak dan Ibu serta teman-teman. Acara demi acara telah kita lalui bersama. Maka tibalah kita di penghujung acara pada sore hari ini ya. Kemudian saya juga ingin menyampaikan terima kasih kepada para Bapak Ibu juri yang luar biasa pada hari ini ya. Kemudian Bapak Ibu pendamping juga dan seluruh peserta yang telah berpartisipasi dengan antusias. Ya, kemudian untuk para pemenang nanti untuk uang pembinaannya akan panitia transfer ke rekening kalian masing-masing. Oke ya. Oke, saya pribadi dan mewakili panitia English Speech Contest Indonesia Science Center 2025 memohon maaf jika ada kata dan perilaku yang kurang berkenan di hati Bapak, Ibu, dan teman-teman semua. Sekali lagi saya ucapkan terima kasih banyak kepada Bapak, Ibu juri, kepada Bapak, Ibu pendamping, dan seluruh peserta dari English Speech Contest 2025 Indonesia Science Center. Selamat berjumpa kembali di kegiatan Indonesia Science Center selanjutnya. Jangan lupa untuk follow Instagram Indonesia Science Center di @ppiptek dan YouTube Indonesia Science Center di Indonesia Science Center ya. Indonesia Science Center, tempatnya jagoan sains. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Sampai jumpa lagi. Terima kasih banyak.
Waalaikumsalam, sampai jumpa Kak.
Sampai jumpa. Terima kasih.
Thank you semuanya.
You're welcome.
Selamat ya semuanya.
Selamat. Kepada Bapak Ibu juri, terima kasih. Bisa dipersilakan untuk live dari Zoom. Terima kasih.